Hey, everybody. Welcome to the live stream. It's good to see you guys. For those of you who are already in the chat, welcome, welcome. Good morning and good afternoon. And I think even a very late good evening for some of you, like Bill, who I don't know how you're still awake, but I appreciate you being here. Um, yeah, it's always weird when I see that countdown timer, that 10 seconds where it counts down before the stream starts. For some reason I just get really like nervous and tense. I kind of hate it, so I need to come up with um a better way to start the stream so it's not as like nerve-wracking. But yeah, hello Big Mayo, what's up? Andrew, Prodigal, Rachel, good to see you guys. Welcome Sherry, hello. um Yeah, so today I've labeled the stream as an office hours. I think that's kind of like the MO. You guys tell me what you think. If you think these streams that I've been doing the last few weeks fit into that vibe where it's mostly like Q&A based. I did have a few things prepared for today's session. And also let me know too in the comments, number one, if the audio is coming through okay. And then number two, I did change the latency settings to like moderate, so there might be a bit of a delay between what I'm saying and when you guys react in the chat. So just keep me honest there. I'll do my best to make sure I stay up on the chat. So give me a thumbs up if everything looks and sounds good. Just want to make sure before we get into it. Cool. Thanks, Andrew. What's up, Reliable Bank Solutions? Good to see you. Welcome back. And I just want to acknowledge this handle. Where is he? Okay, thank you guys for confirming. We got Big Mayo in the chat, and for some reason that just cracks me up. We gotta take a look at Big Mayo's channel. Hold on one sec. Let me pull this up. Okay. First of all, Big Mayo, if you can in the chat, tell us a little bit about what your channel is going to be about. I don't know. This just cracks me up. There's obviously some comedic element to what you're doing here. Trying to get to 50 subs so you can live stream. Okay, cool. Where are you at right now? 22? All right, so you're like almost halfway there. If you can help me out, I'd greatly appreciate it. My hope is to live stream every Monday through Friday at lunchtime. So if you're down for lunch with Big Mayo, hit that button and let's make it happen. Okay, you guys, for those of you who are interested, and I'm not trying to shill subscribers, that's not my vibe. That's not my shtick, but I love the intention of doing a daily live stream at lunchtime to just chat with people. I just think the banner, the name of the channel, the profile picture, it's just, for whatever reason, it cracks me up. He's got one video posted already, so congratulations for getting started. I think that's amazing. Got some shorts on here. Yep, got some shorts. And any short with a dog in it gets an A+ in my book. So very cool. But yeah, I like the idea of what you're shooting for. My channel is trash. Yeah, I love it. Okay, this is your second channel. The first one blew up, and I want to see if I can replicate the success, but I'm struggling with this one. What was the first channel about? And what do you mean blew up? Blew up in a good way, like it got a lot of subscribers, or it just didn't take off at all? Let me know. Also, Nanad, Liquid Hour DNB, thank you, sir, for the super. Appreciate that. Goes a long way. Thanks so much. Tien, welcome. Oh, okay, so it did. It got up to 22,000 subscribers. Wow. That's pretty impressive. Lego niche. Okay. Do you know Lego Tours, who might also be in the chat? Let me find him. I don't know if he's here, but he was here. Well, we're gonna go to his channel too. So you guys, you might remember him from last week.
Guys, hi everybody.
We talked about this channel because I offered to do a mini channel review, and he came up. He's 13 years old, by the way. And I thought it was really I thought it was really sweet because he joined the chat and he says, "Hey, I'm 13. Am I allowed to be here?" And I got a kick out of that because I labeled the live stream as like for 40 plus people. So, but here's his channel, and I just want to call out how much of an amazing job he's doing. He's almost at 1,000 subscribers. He's doing. Look at his live stream schedule. He's got all these upcoming live streams scheduled. So think about the thought and effort he's putting in to making this work for him. And these live streams are getting really good viewership. And I know we talk about live streams a lot in our community and even on this live stream here. But for those of you who are on the fence about doing live streams, highly recommend it because it gets you. I think it does just so much for the community element of it. You guys tell me in the comments if you agree or disagree. It's just such a great way to connect with people and to get to learn, who your viewers are and what they want and who they like to interact with. And, it helps you refine your style and your vibe and it helps you like find your voice a little bit. And it also builds, at least for me, it builds a bit of confidence too, to know that you're on the right track when you attract people that actually care about what you have to say. So I wanted to show him because I had another thought that I wanted to share with you guys on today's stream. You might also know. Let me know if you know this lovely lady, the little old lady who could and did and does, who now has over 20,000 subscribers. So I just want to show you something really quick here. And I want to ask for your input. So what we've got these two channels. And I want to ask for your input on what you think. Let me give you the background and the context. So we have on the left side the little old lady who could and did and does. She's at 20,000 subscribers. She's been on YouTube for a couple of months, had a couple of ups and downs, but she is really breaking through the noise and establishing herself as somebody that people really want to watch videos from. Okay. And then she's also 76 years old. Okay. So just keep that in your back pocket. And then we have Lego Tours. Let me make this a little bit bigger for you. Got Lego Tours NI, who is also very active. He's got great viewership on his long form videos. He's posting pretty consistently, and he's doing a bang up job on his live streams. And he's 13 years old. So, what do you guys think? Like, what's the lesson from these two creators? Is there a singular word that comes to mind when you think about their channels and their content and where they are in their lives? And is there any inspiration to be drawn? I have a word that comes to mind for me, but I'm curious your thoughts on this. Sherry says, there is no age limit. That is, yeah, I love that. 100%. Rachel says, just do it. Yep. For me, it's the word that comes to mind is fearless, right? Like they're gonna do it. They're just gonna do it regardless. They don't give a crap. They're just gonna do it. They're like unapologetically gonna post about the things that they're passionate about. And they don't give two craps if they get views or not. And I think, and this is just me, my speculation and my 2 cents from being distant from the channels, is when you have that much passion and conviction and how you show up on camera, that is what really compels people to want to watch and hang out with you and spend time on your channel and watch your live streams and listen to your stories. Yeah, so definitely fearless. Yeah. So here's another thing about Lego Tours. He was in Rob the Maritimer's chat the other day when Rob went live. And again, Rob's niche is just like mine. He's targeting older folks. But you've got this 13-year-old who, one, isn't intimidated by being around a bunch of 40, 50, 60-year-olds, right? And he asked Rob if he could get pulled up as a guest on Rob's live stream to participate as a like on the panel because Rob was experimenting with Ecamm and the studio and pulling people in. And he wanted to get in front of 200 people on Rob's live stream and talk about his channel and what he's working on and talk about growing in. And it was just really, really inspiring that a 13-year-old would be that fearless to be able to get on a live stream with complete strangers, almost 200 people who were probably middle aged like me, who might be skeptical or critical of a 13-year-old, but he didn't give a crap. He volunteered. Now, Rob didn't pull him on because there's a concern about, not being 18 on a live stream. But what's the lesson to be drawn? I think the lesson is, don't don't give a crap. Just if you got a vision, if you got a focus, go for it. So I don't know. I saw that earlier in the week. I was really inspired by it, and I wanted to share both of these channels. And we've talked about them individually, but when you look at the contrast between what they're doing and how successful they're both being, it really begs the question for anyone out there who's struggling, even, and this is for me too, by the way. I'm not just talking to you guys, I'm speaking to myself. When I start the week and I'm like dreading working on the channel, or like I'm not sure what to do, or I don't feel like focused or motivated, I got to ask myself, what are my excuses? Like, do I have legitimate, valid excuses? And the answer is no. Because here you have a 76-year-old woman who's essentially monetized her channel twice in a 8-9 week period. You've got a 13-year-old who's about to be monetized, most likely. I don't even know. Can 13-year-olds get monetized? Can someone Google that? I don't even know. But he's going to hit his 1,000 subscribers. He's probably racking up a lot of watch time with all the live streams he's doing. So I don't know. Think about these two whenever you're stuck and just imagine the level of work. Um, I think I got disconnected. Can you guys see and hear me? Thumbs up. Sorry about that. I think my internet crapped out. Buffering here. Is my laptop buffering? No. I'm back. Okay. How long was I out for? It seemed like just a brief moment, but ooh, that's no good. Okay. Thank you. Glad I'm back. That's kind of cool. It definitely kicked me off the Wi-Fi, and then Ecamm told me I was offline. The YouTube app told me I was offline, but then there was an option to reconnect. So that's good news. Hopefully it stays in good shape for the rest. But anyways, thank you for indulging me on their story. I think it's a really cool dichotomy to see both of these creators. So with that, anything on your guys' mind? Any questions on new channels, getting started on YouTube, doing it middle life or older, or even doing it as a 13-year-old? Anything on your mind that you're stuck on? Happy to help. We're going to treat this as an office hour. So you just come in with whatever problems that you have, and we'll do my best to address those. I do have a few other things that we can chat about, but I want to see if you guys have anything that's on your mind. So just let me know. There's one other thing, maybe while I'm waiting for a question or two. Oh, wait, hold on. We got one from Rachel here. Here's the question. Can you schedule that many lives in advance? Do you think that's a good idea? So that is a good question, actually, because it begs the question as to how, when those live streams get pushed to people's feeds to be, to give them an update that it's going to happen. I don't know, actually. That might be something to look up. I think it's good to schedule them out a day or two in advance, or maybe even a few days in advance. But I will say, if you're doing them every day and you're picking the same time, then who cares, right? Just schedule them, because eventually I think what will happen is people will just get really used to you doing it at that same time, and then it'll just become almost like second nature for them, the people that really wanna hang out and participate. Um, but I don't know, maybe if you're scheduling 4 or 5 out in advance, I don't know if I see the problem with that. I think if anything, it shows your viewers that you're taking it seriously and, you've got a lot the things to talk about, and it might entice them to actually click the notify button to make sure that they're getting notified for each of those live streams. So it could be a good thing, Rachel. I don't know. We have to think more on that. Maybe do a little bit of research. My only concern with it is like if you schedule 5 straight away, then which ones get shown in the person's feed? And then does it become too many for them to want to get notified about? Don, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that. Catherine's asking, do you find going live at certain hours are better on YouTube? So that's a good question. For me, I've only gone live at this time. So this is 8:30 in the morning for me, Denver time, which I think works for a lot of people in the US. Maybe not so much for Hawaii folks, but even like Pacific people might still be able to join. But it also gives the Europeans the ability to join, which I do have quite a few folks from the UK and other parts of Europe that are in the community that, participate in these live streams. The downside is I don't get very many folks from Australia or New Zealand, except for Bill. So Bill's a trooper. But yeah, I think it's hit or miss. It depends on your audience and like obviously when they're mostly online. So, but it's worth experimenting and you can obviously adjust the times. But I think there's something to be said about being consistent and like having the same day and time each week. Or if you're doing multiple lives, then, trying to pick a time that fits best with your audience. And you can look in the YouTube studio as well to see when your viewers are most on. Let me show you what it looks like. And you can kind of schedule your live streams around that too. So right here, you can see this, oops, the dark purple, or sorry, the light purple is when my viewers are mostly on. So I do mine, Thursday, and I do it at 8:30. So it says most of my viewers are on YouTube. And then there's several hours where there's still quite a few on. So hopefully this is a good time. I would suspect if I did it too early or too late, or even on a weekend like Saturday, I might get less viewership. So, but yeah, hopefully that answers that question for you. So Andrew says, I have a channel that has 947 subs, and it's in the video production and editing niche. And then another channel about YouTube growth, um, making videos, blah, 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 has 98 subs. Should I merge these? That's a good question. Um, yeah, and then the follow up is I've been feeling like some of the videos would work on both channels, and that makes it hard to decide which channel to put the video on. I don't know. What do you guys think about Andrew's predicament with two channels? One is video editing and video production, and the other one is how to grow on YouTube. I think there's definitely a lot of overlap, Andrew, with those two channel types, but there's also probably folks who might watch your editing and video production videos that aren't going to be making YouTube videos necessarily or growing on YouTube. If you merged the two, then it would basically probably be a how to grow on YouTube channel that specializes in video production and editing. And there's definitely space for that. There's definitely channels that already do that. Um, but I would say like in order to keep a singular audience with one channel and kind of marrying both of those interests, you'd probably have to niche down a little bit because video production is pretty broad, right? You can produce video for TV, for socials, for YouTube, for I don't know, for a variety of things. So if you were to narrow it, video production for YouTube content creators and position it as like, if you do these types of things, you might grow your channel more quickly, or this is going to save you time editing, like that kind of stuff, then that might be a good angle to take. But my sense of it is it's probably hard to juggle two channels. And if there's a lot of overlapping content, then it probably makes sense to merge the two. So hopefully that answers the question there. Okay, so Don's 2 cents on the question from earlier that Rachel asked about scheduling too many live streams. He says, we discussed this in school yesterday. One of my colleagues scheduled 5 lives in advance, spanning 3 months. They show up in random order in suggested videos, which could cause too much noise. So yeah, I think that's a good observation. I'm glad you chimed in, Don, because I wasn't quite sure how that might look and feel. But yeah, it might be good to maybe just schedule it for the week. Like if you got 1 or 2 coming up for the week, schedule both of those. And then every beginning of the week, you schedule your live. It would be nice to do them, weeks and weeks out in advance, and then hopefully the algorithm would serve it. But you never really know how that's going to be served up. So Reliable Bank Solutions is asking, if the niche is not famous among the audience, but it's really important for the world to be aware, how can we educate if no one wants to know? Okay. So I think the question is, how do we grow our channel when we have a really important message that we feel as though there's not a lot of audience interest? Um, that's a tough one. I think maybe in the packaging, there's an opportunity to, rather than get really specific on what the solutions are that you're solving in your videos, is to present the problem, like the symptom. So for example, if your solution, I'm trying to remember, I think we talked about this already. If the solution is like sending money through like international through borders, and doing it in a clean and safe and secure and like less costly manner, I think that's what your channel was about. Um, then rather than saying like, here's how to send money quickly or safely, it's like, I don't know, how to avoid transaction fees when you're sending money internationally. It's maybe drawing attention to the fact that people might lose money or they might lose time. So you're kind of like narrowing in on the pain points, the problems that they might not know that they have. And then in the video, you're educating them on how to do something. I hope that's helpful. I hope I got your niche right, because I'm trying to remember from previous conversations what we talked about with your channel. Give me 1 sec, you guys. I'm just going to try and get back into the YouTube studio and the live here. There we go. I wanted to get the live chat up in the YouTube studio so I can look at your channel. But yeah, so to answer that question, I think it's to do with being more, I don't want to say vague, but being more general in your packaging, drawing attention to a large scale problem that people might not know that they have. And then in the video is when you get really like kind of laser focused in on the actual solutions versus trying to present the solution in the packaging, because they may not be aware that they need that solution until you identify the problem that they have. The Science of Raising Horses has a question. How do you balance doing live chat, essentially free advice, and your paid service? Is there any overlap, synergy, etc.? Yeah, I think that's a great question. So thank you for asking that. This is an interesting one because it gets to the core of how much value do you offer for free, and how do you monetize your skills or the value or the things that you know. And there's a lot of folks out there, a lot of like entrepreneurs on YouTube that talk about this problem of, I don't want to call it a problem, but basically it's this idea of giving everything away for free. Just give all of your knowledge away for free in your videos. If you have a proprietary framework, or if you have decades of experience, or if you have a passion that you can educate people about, Make videos, give it away for free. Don't gatekeep. Don't hold anything back. But then the question is, well, how do you make money if you're giving everything away for free? So I think it depends on your niche and it depends on your product and your offer. But we'll just use me as an example, right? Because my product is essentially coaching for YouTube, and I can give away everything that I know in a YouTube video or on a live stream. But at the end of the day, the problem isn't in the information. The problem is in the implementation of the information. So people need help and support working through a problem or getting a tactical step by step or guide or hand holding on how to do something. And that's really where the coaching and the community comes in. So you got to think about this for your own niche because it's going to be different depending on your offer and what your audience wants. Some folks can make a digital product that gives people something to work. I'll use one of our members as an example. So there's a gal named Deb. Her channel is Deb's RV Services. She talks in her videos about doing warranty inspections for RVs for both buyers and sellers. And she really helps people understand you need to look out for these things. Because if you don't look out for this when you're buying and then you buy and you have this issue, it can cost you $5,000, $10,000 to fix. So she's giving people all of this information to preempt them from potentially like missing out on something or having to spend a lot of money. But she's offering a digital product that she's selling to them that gives them a list, like a comprehensive list of things that the buyer can actually like look at to do the inspection themselves, to know that when they buy their vehicle they're not buying a piece of junk. So she's giving them something tactical, practical, actionable that they can use to then save some money, right? So there's a wide range of things that you can do to potentially monetize, but that's not something she can give away in a video. Like she can give away all of the steps to do an inspection in a video, and oftentimes she talks about the things that she's inspecting in a video. But it's visual, right? There's no worksheet. There's no PDF that you can print out that you can bring with you to the dealership to do the inspection yourself. You can't bring one of Deb's videos to the dealership. So hopefully I'm making sense here, but it's like giving somebody the steps to do the implementation or the action themselves. And for me, that's coaching. That's the one-on-one relationship. It's working through challenges and problems and ideating back and forth, giving feedback, helping them out with small minor details that they may have overlooked or missed. A lot of those things you can mention in a video, but until you're working with somebody side by side, it's hard for people to really know what to implement and when and how to prioritize different things. So I think one strategy could be give away as much as possible. Just try to be an open book and try to be as valuable as you can be. And that will foster so much goodwill with your viewers. They know that you are honest and trustworthy and credible, and you're just like, you're of service. You're trying to be as helpful as possible. And that will garner so much trust. And people will want to come to your channel and they're going to want to watch your videos and they're going to subscribe and they're going to hang out in the live chat. And then when push comes to shove, when they have a real problem that they can't get through and that a video doesn't solve, then they reach out and say, hey, I think I need to set up a coaching session with you. I really need help in this area. Can we talk about it? And that's where the real value comes in, right? Because you've already built this relationship, this trust. People get to know you. They know you act in good faith, and then they want to work with you. So I think there's something to be said about adopting that mindset of just giving everything away for free and then letting people come to you when they're ready. So that was a very long-winded way of of answering that question. I hope that was helpful. Let me see if I've missed any questions here in the chat. Yeah, so Don says many people resent gatekeepers. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's just so much information on YouTube, and I don't think if I have knowledge in a certain category, there's no reason for me to hold it back because Joe Schmo might also have knowledge and he's sharing it freely, right? So if I'm gatekeeping and they're being free with their information, then I'm at a disadvantage because people are going to go to them because they're being open. And at the end of the day, like there's so many creators, there's so much information out there. Whatever question somebody has, there's already a free answer out there to be had. So you may as well give your version of that answer and your unique perspective, and just be a utility, be a vehicle for helping someone solve a problem. And then, in the end, if and when you do have a product to sell, in their mind they'll think, this guy is giving away so much free value that his paid offer must be so much better, right? So you're kind of creating that perception in the viewers' minds. And then obviously with your paid offer, you really have to deliver, and you really have to make sure that the person is getting out of it what they intended to. Yeah, Big Mayo makes another really good observation. When you're open and you don't gatekeep and you're just free flowing with your value and your information, people recognize that and they come to you and they feel more inclined to want to support you, right? There's so many crowdfunding platforms out there. So there's things like, buy me a coffee. There's obviously YouTube channel memberships, there's supers. Just so many ways to support a creator that you're a fan of. And if you feel like they're showing up every week and they're giving away a lot of value, then a lot of people might be inclined to want to support that, right? They want to keep that train going. They want to be a part of that movement and that momentum. So it goes a long way. Hey, Tony, what's up? How are you? Um, so there's one other thing I wanted to show you guys. So you'll let me know here in a second. Tell me if you can see my screen. So, somebody in my community, his name is Thomas, he posted a link to a Gallup article. And I hopefully this won't glaze you over and bore the crap out of you. This is a bit academic, but I think for any newer creator out there, this is good information to know. And let me explain why. This Gallup survey just came out, and it surveyed, I think it was like 30,000 people in different organizations, different companies across the world. This is a global survey. And the survey is asking, what are the things that you need most in a leader? And you might be asking, well, we do YouTube. Like, why do we care about organizational leadership? I think as a YouTube content creator, whether you know it or not, whether you like it or not, you are leading. Okay. So hear me out on that. You are showing up on camera and you're talking to a large group of people and you're doing some kind of influencing, whether that's through education, whether that's through community building, whatever means you're providing something to a large swath of people. And so I wanted to share this because if you're creating a YouTube channel and you're trying to build community, there's a few things that I think can go a long way in fostering that community and building those relationships, which in turn build your YouTube channel. So the main call outs from this survey, and again, this is global, it's looking at people in companies and what they need in leaders. And the biggest thing that came up was they need hope from their leader, followed by trust. And then there was compassion and stability that were the other two things, but those were a very small minority compared to hope and trust. So think about when you're making your videos. Do you have the ability to inspire hope in your viewers, right? And then are you connecting with them in a way where they trust you? Because if you can do those first two, I maintain you're in really good shape. So I wanted to share this because I thought it was really interesting. And as it breaks down even further, they asked, of the different types of people in society that we might look to as leaders, how do we evaluate hope and trust and compassion? And I think for many of us, we might be educators, right? If you're a YouTube content creator, especially if you're me or anyone else out there who's doing an education style channel, you are no doubt an educator. We might think of that in the conventional academic sense, But if you are sharing information with your viewer, you're an educator. Some of us might also be mentors. And for anyone out there that's doing coaching like I am, or if you're like going to dip your feet into that, or even community leaders, then these are things worth taking a look at. But by and large, hope was the biggest thing that followers want in their leaders. So think of a follower as like your subscriber and think of yourself as the leader. As long as you're helping to inspire and encourage and provide a sense that things are possible for your viewers, then I think you're going to be in good shape because you're going to foster that hope. And then, of course, trust is super important. And I think some of the ways we foster trust is with our authenticity, showing our mistakes, and helping people just connect to us by telling our stories and being vulnerable and not being somebody that we're not and not being overly polished or edited. You can earn trust through credible information too, if that's your style. But I just want to call this out because I thought it was really, really interesting. And again, 30,000 people were surveyed globally across the world, and it's universal across all cultures, all uh, bits of society, that hope and trust are the two most important things. So just keep that in the back of your mind as you're thinking about your content strategy and how you can help people, because it's pretty important. So, anyone got any thoughts or feedback on that? I thought I would just share this. Tian, yeah, you're an educator. Yep. Oh, hey, Barb. Yeah, so I had sent this article. So again, someone had posted it in my school community, and I was reading through it, and I sent it to Rob and Alexa because if you guys watch Rob and Alexa, and I know I talk about them all the time, so you're probably bored of hearing me drone on about it. But when you watch their videos, like what are they doing? They're inspiring people. They're giving people hope, and they're showing people their journey and how they got from zero to where they are, and showing that journey gives people hope. It lets them know that it's possible for them as well. And then the trust factor, Rob's out there filming with the flies buzzing around his head and he's like trying to swat them away half the time. It's endearing to see somebody show up not perfect, right? And you hear Alexa talk about her kids coming into the room mid filming, and she just keeps it in. So it's kind of fun, right? When you see people's real life show up in their video, and that builds a lot of trust. But I thought of them instantly when I was reading through this, and I was like, there's no question they have tens of thousands of subscribers and they're doing really, really well. It's because they encapsulate hope and trust to a T. So think about them, think about that for you and how that might apply. Rachel says, I watched a craft video today and said she makes a video to make people feel something. Yeah. That's the point, right? You're trying to move people in a way or inspire people in a way. And um, someone was talking about sometimes the knowledge or the information you share in the video is not important, but it's the way you make them feel that's important, because people don't remember facts when they leave a video, but they do remember the way you make them feel when they leave a video. So if you have a good way of stirring something up emotionally, something positive, something hopeful, something optimistic, then I think you've got a good advantage. Hello, Nicola. Welcome, welcome. Lego Tours in the house. So Lego Tours, you missed it. We were talking some smack about you earlier. I'm kidding, of course. We were talking about your channel and how well you're doing. So congratulations on everything you're doing. You're getting close to 1,000 subscribers. We'd love to see it. Oh, hey, Barb, just became a member. Cool. Thank you for that. Appreciate you being here and supporting the channel. That's amazing. And here we got Carolyn in the house. Hey, Carolyn. Good to see you. Welcome. Zoe says, I'm shy to talk, but I love making videos. Hopefully, I said your name right. Sorry if I mispronounced it. Yeah, I get that. I sort of in the same boat sometimes, most times, I should say. Zoe, I'd love to know if you are speaking in your videos, if you're doing a narration or a voiceover, or if you're on camera, or if you're making videos where there's no speech. Be curious to know your thoughts on that. Oh yeah, no worries on the membership, Barb. No worries at all. One other thing, you guys, on this same topic of the Gallup survey, let me show you something. So this Gallup survey obviously it's really designed for leaders in an organization to know how their employees view them. And so I was thinking, okay, there's, this is like it's a stretch to map this to the YouTube content creator, but I want to show you something that I did that you might find useful. I went to, first of all, I signed up to get the PDF download of this survey, which is like 30 some pages. And do you guys use Notebook LM at all? Let me know in the chat if you've ever used Notebook LM. It's by Google and it's free to use. And I threw that 30 some page PDF into Notebook LM. And one of the cool features about Notebook LM is that you can give it a document and then it can generate for you an audio podcast of two AI voices talking to each other about the contents of that document. So it's basically like an explainer video. And I gave it some additional instructions and I said, "Hey, explain this document, but talk to us through the lens of a YouTube content creator. Like, how does this material actually apply to a YouTube content creator?" And it spit out for me a 13-minute podcast of the two AI voices talking about the topic that Gallup mentioned in the survey. And then it also tied it into the YouTube content creator. So I just thought it was brilliant how you can use this to take something seemingly detached from what we do and have them tie it into what we do, and to see what the overlaps are and to see what the relevance is for us as creators. So pretty cool. If you haven't used Notebook LM, it's worth checking out. You can also have it do summaries of different documentation. You could feed it all kinds of stuff, and it'll break it down for you. It's kind of like ChatGPT, but it has different functionality built into it. Hey, Lauren. Hello. Welcome. All is well. Thank you for being here. Uh, Rachel, yeah, I can actually throw the PDF in school for you guys. Thomas posted about it. Here, let me see if I can pull it up. So where is it? Let me look for Thomas's post here. And while we're looking at school, here it is right here. So creators as leaders, if they want or not. So he posted the link to the Gallup site, and then from the Gallup site, you can get the PDF. And then I kind of read through it and I listened to the Notebook LM version, and then I put the podcast version down here, which is basically them talking about the survey, but as it relates to a YouTube content creator. So come in here if you're in my school community. Come in here if you want to check this thing out, because it's pretty cool. It's 13 minutes if you want to listen to it. And for anyone in the chat who is wondering what the heck this school thing is, I just put a link in the description, or put a link in the chat for you. The school community is free, and it's just a way for midlife content creators to connect and chat about YouTube related things. We have a couple group calls each week, and we just we get together, hang out, and talk shop. So if that's interesting to you, feel free to apply. Hey, Mike. Mike's Adventure Sparks. What's up? Good to see you. Bricktonium, good to see you. So, question from Bricktonium. Um, what do you use to edit? So, I'm using CapCut, although I will say that loosely I'm using CapCut right now. I haven't really edited a video lately. Like, I've been making more videos where I'm not editing a whole lot, but I've been using CapCut for basically the last 11 months. I find it to be pretty easy to use for the most part, but I will tell you, there's been a lot of chatter lately in the community about using something like Descript or even Gling AI, because I think a lot of folks are doing, talking head style videos, and they need a lot of help editing out the ums and the ahs and the dead space and the rambles. And it sounds like Descript is a good solution to that problem. So I might explore Descript. Curious if you guys have used it and what your experience has been. Let me know. So Sherry mentions I recorded my first video 3 times and just decided on the third time just do it. So I'm assuming you meant you like tried to re-record that video several times and then by the third attempt you just posted. Yeah, I think a lot of us have been in that situation where we try to do a video and we redo it and we redo it and then we get to a point where it's like it's just got to go live. It's just got to go up. Been there, done that. Oh, okay. So you guys are also using CapCut. So the new terms of service is very sus. What do you mean? I haven't really looked at it. I probably should, but I haven't looked at the terms of service for CapCut. Uh, so Tien's switched to Descript. I think we're going to need to get like a crash course on Descript in the community because I'm watching some of these tutorials and it looks really, really good. But at the same time, I know that those tutorials tend to sugarcoat. So curious, Tien, if you feel like you could give a quick tutorial on Descript at some point. No pressure, no pressure. Yeah, I think it's not cheap either, Descript, unfortunately, but it looks really cool. I wish I could get like a 30-day trial on it, like unlimited, and try to figure it out. Okay, that would be amazing. Appreciate you volunteering. Have you guys heard of Tella? Tella is another. Let me share my screen. Have you guys seen this? It's like a well, I think it's a web-based and an app, but it's almost like I'm trying to describe it. It's almost like Loom, if you guys have ever used Loom, but it has a lot more functionality. So it's designed to record obviously your face, just like I'm doing right now, and also your screen. So basically like how Ecamm has these different scenes that you're looking at right now, where it's like me on the left and then you can see my screen a lot bigger. Tela has a lot of different templates or formats for this, and you can design it, and you can even it has like a built-in editor where you can trim and you can do all kinds of things. I'm curious if anyone's used Tela. It's also not that cheap either. It could be a shiny object. I have shiny object syndrome for sure. So Bricktonium says from Reddit, the June 12th, 2025 update to its terms of service grant ByteDance an extremely broad perpetual license over anything you upload or create on the platform, even if it includes your voice, face, likeness, edits, or client's content. Oh, that's interesting. What do you mean by on the platform? Like on YouTube or like in their platform? That is a question. Because that's a little scary, to be honest. I don't know how I feel about that. Yeah. Tien's mentioning the cost of the platform, or sorry, the cost of the editing tools as it relates to how much time you spend with it. Definitely something to think about as as your channel grows and you get monetized and you start thinking about how would you spend some of the money that you're making on YouTube. A lot of people's first attempt is to hire an editor for their videos and repurpose some of that YouTube money to save yourself some hours. I know some folks can save, geez, 10 hours plus per week by doing that. Um, yeah, good call out. So, hey, another thing that came up in the week I want to share with you guys, and let me know your thoughts on this. I posted this in my community, and I was asking the question about modest titles versus like those kind of hyperbolic, over the top, authoritative titles, and how you balance that. So I want to get your take on this because this is something I think about. And I know I used the word clickbaity in my post, and that kind of repelled a lot of people. Obviously, I think we all know that clickbait is not good. You don't want to be disingenuous and trick people into watching your video. But I think there's certain types of clickbait that are good and normal. You can create a lot of curiosity and excitement in your title and your thumbnail as long as you back it up and deliver in your video. In a way, you are baiting the click, but you're also delivering on what your title and thumbnail is suggesting. But the question isn't so much about clickbait where you're deceiving the viewer. The question is, for a lot of us midlife folks, myself included, um, I don't have a ton of expertise in my topics. So I don't feel right creating a title that is like, this is going to blow up your channel or this is going to change your life or like all of these big, bold claims. But we often see those videos constantly on YouTube and they tend to get a lot of views. So I was curious to get your thoughts on how you think about titling your videos, how you keep them aligned with your expertise, your knowledge, while also trying to balance appealing to people's curiosity and getting them to want to click on your videos. So if you have any thoughts on that, I'd love to hear from you on it. I got a lot of really good comments from people on here, very thoughtful comments. And if you left a comment, first, I just want to thank you for that. But they all, for the most part, leaned into just stay true to yourself, like Rachel just said. Don't don't chase a trend for the sake of chasing a trend. Like speak with your own voice, with what feels right. Um, but I also feel like oftentimes that gets drowned out on YouTube. So it's interesting. It's a kind of a conundrum in a way. Tien says, with my niche, I can't really clickbait. Feel a little weird, but there are certain topics that I can try to have clickbait title. For example, this one technique changed the way I study. Right. Okay. So like think about that title. Is that clickbaity? I mean, I don't think it is at all. Um, I mean, that's sort of a factual description in the title. I think that one probably would work, but it could be like the a variation of that TN could be, this one technique will change the way you study forever. It's like, what do you guys think about that title? This one technique will change the way you study forever. You're basically telling the viewer that you have something that's going to change the way that they study forever. I think we see titles like that all of the time. The question is, can you back that up in the video? So it's tough, right? Because you might want to make that in order to get a lot of clicks, but at the same time, you might be talking out of your butt, and you might not deliver on that. So this is something that I've thought about, and it's good to get a lot of opinions on it. And I think some people are in the camp of that it's almost expected in a way to be a little bit hyperbolic in videos. Like here's another example of a title. One of our community members, Ellen, put in her title. It was something to do with. Let me find the video really quick here. This will be a good example to look at. If you don't know Ellen, she's awesome. But she's got this video where it's what I eat in a day at 70 to feel 50. Now, what I eat in a day, that's definitely not hyperbolic. That's just matter of fact. And that's easy to show. Anyone can show that. But the claim is at 70 years old to feel 50 years old. So, what do you think about that kind of claim? I'm 70, but I feel 50. That's very subjective, right? It's almost like no one can disprove that, but it's a pretty big claim. And the video has done quite well for her. So, a more modest person like me might not have thought of that or felt comfortable saying that. And not that Ellen should feel uncomfortable with that title, because honestly, when I interact with her, she acts and looks like she feels like someone younger than me. So it fits. But I think you see a lot of these styles of titles out there on YouTube, and sometimes it's hard to know if the person is just saying that in the title or if they actually have a way of backing it up. Yeah, it's a good point. She's not saying, I'm going to make you feel 20 years younger. It's basically about her. So, but I will tell you, by the way, this framework, this uh, at 70 to feel 50, that is a titling framework that works well on YouTube. And a lot of other people make titles that are similar in structure to this. And it always, well, I won't say it always, but a lot of times that works pretty well for them. So there's something to be said about borrowing highly performing title frameworks from other channels and applying it to your own and then putting your own spin on it. So, more power to her in that case. That's so true. Tian, she has more energy than me. So go, Ellen. 100% she's got more energy than me. uh, Yeah, exactly. It's a suggestion, right, Lauren? So like she's suggesting that, hey, if you watch this and if you eat what I eat, you might feel younger. That's a powerful suggestion. And it's also very subjective. So yeah, I like I like these plays on words. I like looking at these kinds of things. Let me ask the group, do you guys have any titles, or I should say, do you have any high performing videos on your channel where you really feel like the title did the job of helping that video get all the clicks? Maybe put the title in the chat. I would love to take a look at it. So Sherry says, it's like the channels that say, this is what I did to get 1,000 views per day. They are giving me info to try. If they say, do this and you will get 1,000 views per day, I don't believe it. Yeah. So there's a difference between you should do this thing or here's what worked for me. Ooh, Lego Tours hit 1,000 subscribers. Congratulations. Congratulations, Lego. Good for you, man. Very well done. Keep up the great work. I love that. These little milestones. Congrats, man. So I had another okay, so Rachel has a here we go. Let me put this on the screen. So here's a title from Rachel that did particularly well. Cost of each plant and grand total full houseplant tour. And that one was one of your longer ones too, Rachel, which I love. Um, where was that one? Down here, yeah. Almost 2 hours. Yeah. Yeah. So I think what works there is the houseplant tour and the cost. I don't know if this one has if I mean, maybe it does within your niche if this framework is, part of a broader framework that a lot of other creators use. But I think based on our discussions and looking at other channels, we know that houseplant tours typically do well. But there's also the cost element too, which I think piques people's curiosity. They wanna know well, it kinda goes back to what Lauren said earlier. It's like when you show people what you do versus telling them what to do, I think people like that. It's kinda like the behind the scenes. So, because people are always interested in like, well, I have this hobby, here's how I do it. I wanna see how other people do the same hobby. You know what I mean? Yeah, no one does the cost of the plants. So that's definitely an advantage, right? It's a leg up. It gives you a competitive advantage and something that people don't see a lot of. Okay, so Bricktonium says Minecraft's biggest Steve controversy. That short got me over 10 million to get monetized. Oh crap. Okay, I think we might have to go find that one. Give me one sec. I'm gonna pull up your channel. Holy, it has 16 million views on it. And it's a short. You got a lot of videos with a lot of views. Holy crap. I mean, good for you. Good for you. So I don't know anything about Minecraft or this style, but I mean, people love controversy, right? I don't know who Steve is, but probably somebody pretty popular within that niche. So, ooh, I'm not sharing. Hold on, my bad. Check this out, you guys. Look at his shorts viewership. 16 million views. That's incredible. 7 million, 6 million, 5 million, 3 million. I mean, that's bonkers. So, yeah, controversy does well. Um, people love drama. I think I think we're kind of attracted to drama. Thanks for sharing that, by the way. Latina plants. Oh, so Jackie, Lowe's. Hold on, let me pull this one up. Recent video: Lowe's versus Home Depot. Yes, people love versus videos. Do you know this? Like $1 plane ticket versus $10,000 plane ticket, or 1-star restaurant versus 5-star restaurant. So if that's a great format for videos for any niche, really. So how can you guys apply a versus to your own channel like Jackie did? Think about that. Like for me, it could be TubeBuddy versus vidIQ, right? Or it could be, I don't know, or it could be Loom versus Tela. It could be CapCut versus DaVinci. It could be a million things. It could be iPhone camera versus Samsung camera, or this mic versus that mic. There's a ton of different things to do comparisons on. So it could be a good format to experiment for yourselves especially if you want to shake things up and do something a little bit different. So I was always asking why other channels only have a word title but still do well, absolutely well. Give me an example of that. I'd be curious what you're referring to. If there's a particular video in mind, let me know. um, so here's one. Why knowing about remittance can change lives. That's one of your best video, or one of the latest videos. Let's take a look at that channel. And I think we looked at your channel before. Okay, so you guys can see reliable bank solutions coming in here. So, why knowing about remittance can change lives. So, coming back to the earlier discussion we had, knowing about remittance is is the answer to the problem, but what is the actual problem? So, I think if you title this differently, right, to really press on the pain point or the problem, so rather than giving the solution away in the title, you dig into the problem in the title. And that might get more traction and more eyeballs. And then in the video, you talk about remittance. Bank Smarter, what those cryptic banks abbreviations actually mean. Okay. So this one, um, it probably is talking about banking terminology. So maybe we retitle that a little bit differently to say something like Beginner's Guide to Banking Jargon or Demystifying Banking Jargon, something along those lines. Yeah, I think there's an opportunity for some folks. Again, I think your earlier question was, how do I spread the word about something that's important when there's not a lot of audience demand for it? In some ways, you almost have to create the demand by shining a spotlight on the problem that you're trying to solve, if that makes sense. um, so Lego says people now think I'm famous in school. Any tips? How do I do autographs? That's hilarious. Just bring a Sharpie with you wherever you go. If you see someone's baseball cap, take it off their head and just sign it. Do I do channel reviews? Yes, I do. For community members, I do channel reviews when they're highly active in the community. But we've done some on this channel before on live streams. I think we've done one a few weeks ago with you, right, Lego? If I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, I think you got a lot going for you, and you got a lot of good instincts. So trust your gut because you're doing quite well. Yeah, I think you're doing great. All right, so Lauren has a comment. I've been consistent, learning more and more about titles and thumbnails using vidIQ and the highest scoring suggestions I like, having high hopes and posting time than very little views. Maybe we'll take a look at Lauren's channel too, really quick here.
Welcome, beautiful souls.
Okay, so we got Lauren's channel pulled up. 184 subscribers, 212 videos. I really like your banner. Let's take a look at your description here. Embark on a transformative journey towards self love, mindfulness, and personal growth. Embracing your authentic self unlocks a life. Okay. Cultivate self love, guided meditations, positive affirmations, empowering habits, master your mindset. So there's a lot of value propositions in here. Curious, as we're looking through this, you guys, if you have any thoughts or feedback for Lauren on her like first impressions for her channel, throw it in the comments. It's always good to get more perspective. So I think the length of the description is good. I mean it might benefit from being a little bit trimmed up. And this top part here, you might you might be overly specific by saying I help this person with this problem so they can achieve this result. That's a very, I guess, marketing forward way of describing your channel. So for me, it's like I help midlife content creators get started, grow, and monetize on YouTube so that they can share their message with the world. Like that one sentence encapsulates everything that I do. So if you can come up with a high level version of that, like who you help, what you help them with, and then what the outcomes are, that could be that could be something you kind of put in the description. Um, so let's take a look at the videos. Let's see. You've been at it for a couple years. And Lauren, has your niche changed at all, or have you been pretty much talking about all of the same topics this whole time, or have things evolved? Got a couple videos here that have done quite well. I like that you've got yourself in your thumbnails. That's good. People respond to people's faces better, especially I think in the niche that you're targeting. So I'm curious about this last video, how this ties into the broader niche of the channel. What do you guys think about the titles and the thumbnails for Lauren's channel here? I think one thing too, Lauren, is I'm wondering if there's an opportunity to niche down a little bit. Just at a glance here, and again, I haven't seen any of your content, but it feels to me like there's some videos on pain, chronic pain. There's videos on mindset. There's videos on stress. And I think there's some overlap with those topics, but I'm curious if maybe those are pulling in different viewers. I will say most of the titles are not overly long, which is good, but I don't know if they're necessarily all that curiosity inducing. Prodigal likes this one. Reclaim your power now. Yeah, it's a nice background. I think the text stands out quite a bit. I even like this one down here. Find peace in pain, right? It's just kind of a close up of you with a blurred background, and you've got some really clean and easy text. I think that's a good format. I think with the reclaim your power now, you're sort of cut off, right? We would want to see your full face on that. Which one for the font size? Yeah, I think there's some good stuff in here. I think maybe it's just narrowing the focus and um, finding a good finding a good thumbnail format that works because it feels like there's a lot of variety in here, and you could probably benefit from simplifying it and streamlining it. So I'd be curious if you have a particular thumbnail that has a higher click through than the others. But again, think about your audience. Like, who are you trying to connect with? If it's midlife folks, if it's a little bit older, then I think, and this, you guys can correct me if you disagree, I think there's an advantage to um, one, always have your face kind of front and center or even off to the side so that you become instantly recognizable in someone's feed when your video pops up. And then having some text in your thumbnail, like to Mike's point, that is large, bold, captivating, just a handful of words so that it really like creates this curiosity for your viewer. So much easier said than done. So I know I'm just like saying the conventional wisdom regarding titles, but it does take a lot of work to fine tune that. And I've been doing this for 11 months. I've been spending a lot of time on titles and thumbnails. And, I get it wrong constantly. So I think it's good to source perspective and feedback. But yeah, I think it might come down to just narrowing the topics a little bit and really helping people with kind of like a singular problem that they might be having. So if it's more macro stress, mindset shifts to manage stress, or I don't know, mindfulness meditation to manage stress, like things like that. But that's just my initial gut. Yeah, exactly. And that's the hardest part too. Like, it's not always clear. Sometimes it takes a while to figure out, who are we actually speaking to, who are we actually helping, like what problems are we solving. And so, be patient too. I know you've been at it for a few years, but uh, sometimes it's not super clear who we're actually speaking to and who we're talking to, and that's why posting videos is helpful because it really gets you to think through these things, and then in time it can become a little more clear. Does anybody else want to share their channel, get some feedback? Legos has a question. My niche is Lego. Should I niche down to like news or just everything Lego? I don't know. What do you think, Lego? Curious your thoughts because you've got, yeah, I think a lot of your videos get pretty good traction. Maybe what do people like looking at your video catalog? Which videos get the most views? Where do you think you get the most comments from your viewers? What kind of live streams are you doing that get the most viewership and the most engagement? And you can potentially let that be your guide to figure out what kind of content to create. Another question to ask you would be, are there other channels out there doing exclusive Lego news type of things? Um, but you may consider experimenting and doing other Lego style videos that you haven't done before and see if people continue to watch. You can, in the YouTube studio, you can see if you're getting new viewers or returning viewers. So if you branch out and do something different, the test will be, are my returning viewers still watching? And if they are, then you know that, okay, this is an acceptable format for my current community. If you're getting low views, then maybe it's not the best strategy to pivot like that, but it's definitely worth experimenting. And thank you guys for providing your feedback too. Ooh, I like this one. Bricktonium says, heard a tip. Speak to your younger self, your current self, or your future self. Have you guys heard that before? I've definitely heard the tip of, when you're filming, if you're not sure how to present or you don't know like how to communicate well on camera, Imagine you're talking to your previous self, your younger self. So imagine you're talking to yourself from 6 months ago or a year or 5 years ago. What would you tell them? How would you educate them? How would you be helpful to them? I like that. Okay, we have another volunteer. Let me pull up 60 plus and Sophie. All right, you guys can see her channel. Okay, so first impressions. What do we see? See a nice big pink gradient to yellow banner with a couple of photos. 60 plus and Sophie, life in my 60s with Sophie. Okay. So this, I think my initial reaction is that this almost feels like it's going to be a vlog style video, or sorry, channel potentially. So we'll look at the description. I'm a vibrant woman embracing wellness, joy, and natural beauty after 60 with my trusty sidekick Sophie by my side. Oh, I love that. Anything with a dog wins me over. Walk and talk vlog. Okay, so we got vlogs in here. Walk and talk vlogs for movement and motivation. All right. Healthy, flavorful meals made for real life. Sister Lock style tips and natural hair care. Real conversations about confidence, aging, and joy. Whether you're walking your own path. Okay, so there's a couple of things in here. One, we've already established it's going to be more of a vlog style channel, so like more personalized, like things that you're doing, things that you're up to, your perspectives. So food, hair care, confidence, aging, and joy. Got it. And you've got some links in here. Oh, you got a wish list. You got to buy me a coffee. Okay, cool. So I think the description is clean looking. It's very clear what you're going to be talking about in your channel. So I like that. You got 242 subscribers, 77 videos. And then you've got your channel trailer, you in the car. And then we've got the videos here. So we got shorts, got some shorts. Okay, cool. We've got, let's look at the, how many, videos, oldest. Wow, you've been on YouTube for a long time. Okay, 7 years. I'm wondering if you've taken a break, like a hiatus, and you've come back recently. And I know I'm getting behind on the comments here. Walking in peace. Okay, so guys, any initial thoughts, feedback on the titles and the thumbnails as you see them right here on the channel? We know it's a vlog channel. We know it's lifestyle. We know it's designed to be motivational and inspirational. Everyday things like hair care, food, things of that nature. I think one thing would be maybe more of your face in the thumbnails, potentially. I think there could be a combination, honestly, because I think people inherently look at people's reactions, like their facial expressions, and that can draw people in to want to click. Also, though, if it's more, if you're out and about, if you're in nature, if you're like filming a walk, then something like this could also work. But I would say like there's got to be a really clear value prop in the title and in the thumbnail, like something to get people to want to click. And I'll be honest, like I don't know a ton about vlogging and I don't know a ton about lifestyle or travel, but these types of channels are often harder to grow when you're small because to be blunt, people don't know who you are and they don't care about you. Like that's just the honest truth. And unless you're providing somebody with clear value, you're solving a problem for them, they will very likely not want to click on your video. So, I'm probably not the best person to give advice on a vlog channel, but to the best of your ability, if you can somehow insert in the packaging that, hey, I'm recording this vlog, but really it's going to help you in this way if you watch this. And maybe you're stuck at work or you don't know how to have a hard conversation, or maybe you're having a hard time waking up in the morning, like whatever the problems might be that your target viewer might have. if you can somehow articulate that in the title and the thumbnail, then in the video, as you're out and about doing your vlog, like you can address some of those things and potentially be helpful to them while also sharing your experience. So I don't know if that makes a lot of sense, but just know with this style of content, it's often harder to grow the channel. But the benefit is the people that will come to you and who will watch your stuff and who subscribe, they will tend to be the more diehard fans of your channel and what you're doing. So there's a benefit, right? You build a stronger community. I would imagine. So that's my initial reaction. Question: I train customer service at my job, like employees. Like, are you a trainer? Curious about that. I think if you're asking the question of should I include something in one of your videos, the question you would need to ask is this something my viewer would care about or gain value from? And maybe there's lessons you can draw from your experience at training customer service. You know, if there's a real world application for your viewer, then absolutely tell that story. Um, we got your cleaner windows. Welcome, first time in the live. Cool, good to see you. I know I'm a little bit behind on chat, you guys. My apologies. I'm just scrolling back up here. So Mike, I think you volunteered as well. Uh Hold on, I'm I'm just trying to catch up. So Mary's up in here. Hey Mary, new to YouTube, you've been using AI generated videos based on your scripts. I'm now thinking of transitioning into talking head videos and teaching. Yes. Mary, curious what your experience has been with AI content and why you're making the pivot potentially. I think there's some value in showing up and being yourself because people will connect with that more, but there's obviously a lot more stress and overhead involved. So let me know. I'm curious your thoughts on that. All right. So Mike's Adventure Sparks. Mike, let me find your channel. Give me 1 second. Okay. So we're going to get Mike's channel up here. All right. So, all right, Mike, first thing I noticed is you do not have a channel banner, but that's honestly not even a bad thing. I don't think people really care all that much. The channel banner is it is a good way of like letting people know right off the bat what the channel is about if you can do the channel banner correctly. But I wouldn't knock any points for not having one. I will say though, your description is very short. So living life one day at a time, doing a little of everything. So this also speaks to me as almost like a lifestyle vlog channel, a channel that's more about your day to day, what you're doing, what you're up to. So hopefully I'm interpreting that correctly as I have my first impression here of your channel. We've got some live streams which you've done. Oh, okay. So just a couple days ago, experimenting with live streams. So let us know how that went because I know that this can obviously be kind of nerve-wracking for first timers. So congratulations on doing your first lives. We got some shorts in here. Got some mud trucks. Ooh, I love that. Mud Fest. Okay, this is kind of cool stuff. Let's look at your videos. You've been on YouTube for 7 years. I would also imagine you took a hiatus and came back. That's what it looks like. So, Mike, I would just ask you what your goals are with YouTube. Um, because it feels to me like, you're just enjoying the process of sharing what you're up to. just talking to people that might be interested. And I think that's cool. I think that's a perfectly viable and acceptable way to make a YouTube channel. If I will just say this because this is the camp that I'm in, that if the goal is to build a flourishing community and to get monetized and to, try to be helpful to other people, then it would have to be less about you and more about your viewers. But if that's not your goal, then no need to even think about that or worry about that. If you just like taking the camera out and recording cool things and putting them up here for posterity and having something to look back on years down the road, or maybe sharing it with friends and family, then more power to you. More power to you. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool. You got some just random stuff about the bulldog. Some of these are just a date. Yeah, so that's my gut. I wouldn't tell you to do anything different because it feels to me like you're doing this just more for fun, as a hobby. But let me know if I'm wrong about that. Let me know if you would want to dig in and make it like if you have intentions of growing and monetizing and building a community and all that stuff. I can give you some pointers. All right, just checking back on the chat again here. Lauren says, Mike, I like your dog. Right? Anything with a dog wins. In my book. In my book. I know not everyone is a dog person. I'm definitely a dog person. I don't have a dog, but I'm a dog person. Yeah, so Mike says just now as a hobby, showing fun things that you do. Yeah, I think that's great. A lot of people start YouTube that way, to be honest. And it's kind of funny the evolution of YouTube channels. I would say there's probably a lot of people that stumble into YouTube as a career by simply just starting a channel and posting about their own lives and things that they're interested in. And then like you might find, I don't know, maybe you talk about one of the ATVs in one of your videos. You're at the Mudfest Hillman and you start talking about one of the ATVs, and then for some reason all the ATV enthusiasts start watching that video and you're like, "Oh wow, like I'm getting a lot of traction from people who really like this one content style." And then all of a sudden you start making more videos on ATVs. And now your channel is less about you and more about the ATVs and then the ATV community. So that's kind of how sometimes these channels evolve. Lauren says, I need a dog. Lauren, what kind of dog do you have? Actually, everybody in the chat, for any of you dog lovers out there that has a dog, what kind of dog do you have? Okay, so Prodigal's reading my mind. What kind of dog should Ty get? A spaniel, a setter? Let's see how well you guys know me. What dog matches my vibe and my personality? I'm really afraid of these answers. Yeah, you're welcome, Mike. Oh no. Okay, I'm really afraid. A cockapoo coda bear? What is that? Is that even a dog? I never heard of that. I think you just made that up. I think that's fictional. um, Sophie is a Chihuahua poodle mix. Okay. Yeah, Sophie's cute. Rachel says an American Akita. I think that's the dog you have, Rachel. Do you have a bias? Are you an Akita lover? Golden Doodle, but do not recommend. They are stubborn. Yes. Golden Doodle. Oh, okay. 60 plus and Sophie, you're speaking to me. Either a lab or a German Shepherd. Okay. So growing up, we had two German Shepherds, and I love those dogs. They were vicious and our friends hated coming over because as soon as they would come in the door, the dogs were all up in their business, scaring the crap out of them. Very loyal, territorial, and just intense dogs, but they're also super smart, and they were just lovable. So yeah, I grew up with German shepherds. I have a fondness for German shepherd dogs. Labs are also amazing. I know a couple of labs. Labradoodle, Samoyed. Okay, so Prodigal, I have a bad Samoyed experience. I've only known one Samoyed, and they were a terror, and they would constantly run away. So wasn't a huge fan of that dog. Okay, so the dog breed is Cockapoo, and the name is Coda Bear. Oh, I love that name. I still don't know what a Cockapoo is, though. Oh my gosh, Cockapoos are adorable. I just had to look them up. Is this what your dog looks like? I don't think I've ever met a Cockapoo, but they're cute. Lego wants a dog. You can get a Lego dog. You can build one. Labradors don't shed. Yeah. German Shepherds, gosh, they shed. Black Lab Pity. Oh, yeah. That's tough, isn't it? There's really no replacing a pet, is there? Definitely have known some Black Labs. No pities, though. Not really well. English Springer Spaniel. Growing up. Yes. Okay. So, Lauren, you had German Shepherds growing up too. Pocket Creator. Ooh, wait. Uh, does he have it? Does Pocket Creator have their dog on their channel? Don, if you have a link, let me know. I'll try and pull it up. Yeah, I'm sort of dog sizist, if you will. I like bigger dogs. I don't know why. Maybe because I had German shepherds growing up, but I'm just a fan of larger dogs in general. But I think if I were to get one now, I would get more of a middle-sized dog. We used to pet sit for a Portuguese water dog. Do you guys know any Portuguese water dogs? If you do, they're just exceptionally needy and high energy, and always needing attention, but also very cute and adorable. I don't know how we got to dogs, but I'm I feel like this is some of the most engaging conversation we've had. 9541 has cats. Cool. Yeah, I have a sometimes I get allergic to cats. So that's not so great for me. Let me try and find that Prodigal. The Pocket Creator.
What if I
Does he have his dogs in his videos? I don't know if I've seen his dog. Um, yeah, dogs are awesome for sure. Oh, okay. Yeah, got it. Okay. Yeah, I wonder if there's an advantage to having your dog in your videos. Like, I wonder if those videos do better because people come for the dog. Like, I know with Rob the Maritimer, he's got his cat Peanut in there, and he's always, Peanut's always up to something. So it's almost like a secondary supporting character, if you will. That might be a thing. It might be a competitive advantage. Yeah. So Frankie also a German Shepherd. Cool. So we got some German Shepherd people up in the chat. I like it. I will say though, if I see a German Shepherd out in public, I will not approach it like I might approach another dog, just because I know how vicious and territorial and protective they can be. So I make it a point to just leave them alone. And if they come to me, cool, but I'm not going to approach them, which is tough because I always want to just give a German Shepherd a big hug. No, Mike, all good. All good. Um, so is there anything else on your guys' mind as it relates to your YouTube channels? Sorry to change the topic here, but if there's anyone else that wants me to pull up their channel, especially if you have a dog on your channel, I'll always bias to the animal. I'd be happy to take a look. One of your best videos, hold on, we might have to watch this video. One of my best videos is my wife hand feeding a squirrel. So yes, it is a competitive advantage. I think we're gonna have to look at that. Is it on your channel? Is it a short? Oh wait, here it is. Oh my gosh. Was that a black squirrel? With a brown tail? That's adorable. Right? Animals, you guys. Just make a channel about animals and you'll win. Thanks for sharing. What it's like. Do you want me to take a look at the channel? Do you have anything you want to ask about your videos? I know it looks like you're just getting started. You're pretty brand new, huh? So first of all, congratulations on getting your channel going. Yeah, it was a great reaction. 145 subscribers. Very nice. 10 days. It looks like a lot of talking head. What's the mission or who are you talking to with your videos? It looks like maybe you might be talking about Lyme's disease. Yeah, you are. Yeah. Brand new, so that's great. You know, it's good to take that first leap, and I think it's a pretty courageous and brave thing to do. Not a lot of people make it that far where they get that first video posted. So you talk a lot. Oh, Mike, thank you by the way for the super, very much appreciated. Yeah, we'll use that to buy some lunch today. So thank you for that. I'm glad you're here. Thanks. And yes, 60 plus and Sophie, definitely include Sophie in more videos. Maybe we'll come back to this conversation in a few weeks. And for anyone that incorporates their pet into their video, let's see if those videos tend to perform better, because that might be a worthwhile experiment. That's good. Liking talking is a good quality on YouTube. That'll get you far. Show me hope. I'm here watching from Missouri. You're new. Great. Welcome. Good to have you. All right. So Lego Tours wants some feedback, you guys. Should we roast them or what? Is it possible you can have a look at my thumbnails? I need some advice. Oh, Lauren, thank you. Much appreciated. You guys are awesome. I don't know what to say. We're gonna we're gonna come back and look at Lego here, and we're gonna roast his channel. You asked for it.
Yes, guys. Hi, everybody.
Okay, I'm kidding. We're not really gonna roast him. We're gonna be constructive. So let's pull it up. Oh, Deb, thank you. Oh, that's a cute little. What is that? Like a hippo? Thanks so much. Deb's awesome. Deb, we were talking about you earlier. I don't know if you were here, but we were talking smack about you, of course. So, okay. Legos is asking for thumbnail reviews. I need some advice. So, Lego, let me ask you first of all, do you know what your click-through rate is for your thumbnails? And I'm curious if there's any one thumbnail or maybe two thumbnails that are performing way better on your click-through rate. um, I honestly feel like you've got some pretty strong thumbnails. I think the last time we talked, I like this Home Alone one, right? There's like some social, what do they call it? Social hacking, where you're using someone else's popularity to help drive attention, to drive clicks. And on some of these, you've got, you've got your full your full build is front and center. I think there were some of the older ones like down here. I really like this style. And this is just my 45-year-old non-expert opinion of thumbnails in the Lego niche. But I think what I'm attracted to are thumbnails, simple thumbnails with minimal text that have something really visually appealing in them, like a full build of whatever the project is. So in this case, this house, right? Um, this is also pretty attractive, right? This little town is pretty attractive. Now, again, my tastes might be different from your viewers' tastes. Things that don't necessarily stick out for me are these ones right here. The ones where there's just a lot going on, right? And the text sometimes interferes with the background image, or there's not enough contrast between the foreground text and the background image. Something like this is also very simple and simple and I think easy to understand what the video will be about. This one as well, very easy to know what the video is about. Well, seemingly, but it's very clean. I'm curious if you've made all these thumbnails yourself. So your recent one has a 4.5% CTR. Do you know what your channel average is, Lego? Like your total channel average all time, what your average click through rate is? And Bricktonium, thank you for that, for the super, very much appreciated. You guys are the best. I don't know how to say, I don't know how to respond to these. So I'll just say thanks. It means a lot. But I think this one's good because the text is super big and bold. You got the Lego logo on it. I mean, you might benefit from darkening the background a little bit because the white text doesn't have the best contrast with the white that's in the background. So, food for thought there. Let me show you in case you're curious on how to find your channel click-through rate. So for anyone else out there who needs to know this information, go into your YouTube studio and you can come into your analytics and then you can go into your content. Sorry. Yeah, come into content, right? And then just make sure videos is selected. So we're looking at just your long form videos. And then you can click on last 365 or you can click on lifetime, whichever makes sense for you. So for me, my channel is 3.6% click through rate, which isn't great, by the way. Now, of course, this isn't the end all be all because oftentimes your videos are pushed out in different methods. There's the browse, which is the home screen when people sign into YouTube and they get flooded with a ton of recommendations. That's the browse screen. So browse impressions are typically higher, whereas suggested impressions are when you watch a video and you get to the end, how it pulls up all of those suggested videos for you to watch next. That's a lot harder to compete with because you don't get to see your title. It's just the thumbnail itself. But I think the general consensus, a good click-through rate is between 5 and 10%. But again, take that with a grain of salt because as you can see from my channel, I've been able to grow it. I think I'm doing halfway decent. And here's an example of a video right here. You guys see this? Look at my click-through rate on this video. It's 1% click-through rate. That is hot garbage, if I'm being honest. But this video has almost 900 views, which is pretty good for me. So the click-through rate isn't always the be-all end-all. It's important, but it doesn't tell the full story. And so that's why I wouldn't always like obsess over their click-through rate because the topic for a lot of people is really what's going to drive the click-through rate. And I'll give you an example of this. So this is the video here, right? You guys remember this thumbnail? You can kind of see this, right? It's just me on my roof and it has ask this in the background. That's garnered a 1% click-through rate. So just keep that in mind. Let me show you this video here. This video, you can see this thumbnail, right? It's just me in the kitchen pointing to the words finally monetized. I know it's small, hard to see, but this one has a 4.6% click-through rate. And the reason for that is because it's the topic that's driving the clicks. People care more about monetization than they care about whatever this video is about. So yeah, we're all going to have different CTRs. I think it's niche dependent. It's content style dependent. And it doesn't always mean that you're in good shape or bad shape because my metrics are bad for what the averages should be, but I'm also still growing and people still like my content. So I'm not overly worried about it. But coming back to your channel, if you have a 4.5% CTR on a video and it's getting good views and that's above your channel average, then that's a win. I love this question. Have you tried smashing or destroying a set from a really high position and film it in 4K with 60 frames per second? And then are you saying do a slow motion of the destruction? That's hilarious. Could never do that. So dude let's grow says mine is 9.2%, but I assume that's because I only have 8 videos. Yeah. So the fewer videos you have and the fewer views you have, the higher your click-through rate can be because it might be early days for you and YouTube might not necessarily know who to serve your video to. And so it's serving it to a much smaller audience that it has a much better chance of people clicking on. So that's kind of the thought process there. But Lego, I think you're in good shape, man. I think, keep trusting your gut because I would say most of your stuff looks like it's really good. It's simple, it's easy to understand, it's not overly cluttered. I think your text is big enough. So, yeah, keep it up. These last two are doing quite well, huh? Hey, Simon, what's up, man? I'm just gonna recheck the chat, see if I've missed anything. Yeah, so Sherry's like, your CTR is closer to mine. Yeah, it's not the end all be all. I think for a lot of people, even people who've been doing YouTube for a long time, thumbnails and the trends they come in and out of fashion, and there'll be short moments where one style of thumbnail really works, and then it gets overused and overplayed, and then people stop clicking. So in a way, it's almost like making small modifications to see if you can trigger curiosity with your viewer and then oftentimes changing up the format completely. And that's one thing I don't do very often is all of my thumbnails are very much the same and very similar, which in some ways works to my disadvantage. There's two schools of thought. One is if you make thumbnails that look and feel the same every single time, then you're creating this brand awareness that people are familiar with and then they'll be apt to click. but you might not be attracting new viewers if your thumbnails are more generic and boring. Alternatively, people might also get bored of your video styles, especially if your thumbnails indicate that you're going to do another similar video to your previous videos, right? So if it's just me sitting at my desk every single day, recording the same type of video every single week, you guys might get bored of that. And so you might not want to click on that next video that indicates I'm sitting at my desk. Hopefully that makes sense. So that's why sometimes it's good to break the pattern and get outside and choose a different video format and choose a different thumbnail format, because that can really break people's expectations. And in their mind, subconsciously, they're thinking, oh, here's a new video from Ty. This one looks completely different from his previous uploads. Maybe there's something unique or new in here that I want to learn about. And so they'll click on it and watch. Hopefully that makes sense. You guys talking about blowing up a Lego set is hilarious to me. I think people would love to see that Lego. Just saying. I think people would love to see that. All right, so here's a question from 9541, and I'm drawing a blank on your name. You're going to have to remind me your name so I can refer to you by your real name if you're okay with that. But the comment is, I get overwhelmed on what I should be doing. I like to stay organic and unscripted. Is that a bad idea? This is a great question. So I'm curious what you guys think in the comments about this question about staying organic and unscripted. I think it's helpful to know who you're trying to connect with and what your viewers' preferences are. One thing I'm learning is that the highly edited and scripted videos that I make don't always land well with my core viewers. They might attract some newer viewers, but they don't really land well with my core community members, because a lot of the people that have found me from videos I've made where I'm just speaking off the cuff. I'm on the roof. I'm just chatting through a problem or a situation or like how I'm doing. And I think people have connected with me through those videos. And so when I make an overly edited or scripted video, they're like, nah, I'll pass on that one because it's not what I really want. So if you know that your viewers like the organic and unscripted style, then lean into that and do more of that. And you'll get better at that as you go. If you find that you're not getting a lot of views on that style of video, then experiment, right? Maybe script things out a little bit more. Maybe do more intentional writing and scripting things out and trying to deliver it word for word. Just food for thought, right? These are some ideas. You don't have to you don't actually have to follow that. Guys, give me 1 second. I might be missing a call. Yeah. Well, this is unfortunate. I wasn't planning on going this long on the live stream today. I actually have a call with one of my community members, and I'm late for that call. So I'm going to have to stop the stream, and let me just message them to let them know I'm running late. This is what happens when you're having fun. Time flies. Renee, if you're out there, I'm sorry. I'll be on in 1 second. But hey, I just want to say thank you guys for being here. And apologies if I didn't get to any of your questions. Rachel's laughing at me because I'm an idiot. Yeah, I feel kind of dumb. But anyways, I'll talk to you guys in the next one. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your week and a fabulous weekend. And I'll see you soon. Thank you for being here. And yeah, talk later.